We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
We've seen how Will and Jada's relationship has been from the Red Table Talk Entanglement to the infamous Chris Rock slap at the Oscars to the countless news headlines of their relationship. This relationship seems to have been going downhill for years, so should we really be surprised that it may end in divorce? In 1994, Jada crossed paths with Will on the set of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air while auditioning for a role. Unfortunately, she didn't secure the part due to her short height. Regardless, it's interesting to note that at the time, Will Smith was married to Cherie Zampino, having tied the knot in 1992. Just a year after Jada and Will's first encounter, in 1995, Will and Cherie decided to divorce. The catalyst for this decision was Will's emotional realization, expressed as having cried uncontrollably in a restaurant bathroom. Recognizing that he had married the wrong woman, he had feelings for Jada and wanted to be with her. Following his divorce, Will approached Jada inquiring about her relationship status. When she revealed that she wasn't seeing anyone, he playfully responded with, "Cool, you're seeing me now."
What's up? It's Will. She said, hey, how you doing? I said, good. I said, are you seeing anybody?
Oh my God.
And she said, no. I said, cool, you're seeing me now.
Soon after their engagement, Jada became pregnant and they got married in 1997. In 1998, they welcomed their first child, Jaden Smith, and in 2000, their second child, Willow Smith, was born. Now, in 2013 and 2015, there were rumors flying around that they were in an open relationship and that they're going to get a divorce. This is a key point as it seems history is almost repeating itself. Will Smith did make a response saying that, quote, "In the interest of redundant, repetitious, over and over againness, Jada and I are not getting a divorce." Something really interesting happened in 2016. Jada Pinkett Smith had an entanglement with August Alsina while she and Will were separated while still being married. Now, who exactly is August Alsina? Well, August is Jaden Smith, her son's good friend. There have been a lot of different views on this relationship. Many people saying it's weird and creepy, especially because they have a 21-year age gap. However, Jada Smith spoke about how August had come into their lives when he was sick, and that it felt good to be able to help him because he struggled with addiction. And that she, quote,
I just wanted to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It had been so long since I felt good.
Right.
And it was really a joy to just help heal somebody.
Yeah.
After all this and
Therapizing
Right.
through it.
Will and Jada now have quote-unquote unconditional love for each other. They talked about all this on the Red Table Talk, Jada's show, and it ended up going viral. As time went on, Will and Jada's relationship, from the outside, seemed to slowly mend itself, and they seemed to be much more happy. In 2018, they called each other life partners. In 2019, they went skydiving together for Will's 50th birthday and supported each other at the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival. In 2020, they worked on loving themselves and their relationship together. In 2021, Will Smith even said marriage, quote, can't be a prison. This is also the same year Will released his memoir, Will. And he talked very positively about his relationship, even saying,
if we start talking, it's 4 hours. It's 4 hours if we exchange a sentence.
basically saying how their conversations are endless. He also said,
I've never met another person that I connect with in conversation more blissfully and productively than Jada.
it seemed as though their relationship had been stronger than ever and that they'd worked through their differences. Then came the fateful award ceremony in 2022. You see, this was a very special night because Will Smith had won the Best Actor award for his performance in King Richard, a testament to the decades of work he had put in over the years. However, this career-changing moment was overshadowed because before he won, during the award show, the host Chris Rock made an off-script comment about Jada Smith's appearance regarding how she was bald, as she had previously revealed a journey with alopecia. Now, this comment, although in the beginning made Will Smith laugh, after seeing Jada's reaction, Will Smith approached the stage and slapped Chris Rock across the face. Then he walked off, and after he sat down, he told Chris to keep his wife's name out of his mouth. The award show continued, and after that, he won an Oscar and headed home. The next day, it was everywhere. He ended up apologizing, saying, quote, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong." Now, it's completely understandable to be emotional at a joke like this, but it's not okay to physically harm someone over it. So although Chris could have pressed charges, he didn't, and in the end, Will Smith got to keep his award, but was banned from the Academy and all its events, including the Oscars, for 10 years. So why didn't Chris press charges? Because turns out Chris, Will, and Jada were actually friends. In fact, Chris and Will have known each other since the 90s, and Chris was even on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which, as you may recall, is when Will and Jada first met. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. See, there's more to this relationship. A possible love triangle even. In 2015, amid the reports regarding Jada and Will's divorce rumors, Jada Smith said that
all the reports would come out that me and Will were getting a divorce. And Chris he thought that we were getting a divorce. So he called me and he was like, "Hey," you know, basically he was like, "I'd love to take you out." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Well, aren't you and Will getting a divorce?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Chris, those are just rumors." He's like, "Oh my," I mean, he was appalled, you know what I mean? And he profusely apologized, you know, and that was that.
Making the whole slap incident seem even more peculiar. In fact, Will and Jada's relationship seemed very strong up until this point, but when it came to Jada's reaction to the slap incident, Jada revealed in an interview that she was shocked when Will called her wife during the Oscars.
I'm really shocked because, mind you, I'm not there. We haven't called each other husband and wife in a long time. But I'm like, what is going on right
keep
now?
my wife's
name out of your mouth, right? And I'm like, but now I'm really worried for Will because I don't know what's going on.
As they'd been living separately for the past 7 years and had been separated since 2016. Which makes no sense. Moving on, let's talk about Jada and Tupac's relationship, as maybe you've heard that Jada called Tupac her soulmate, something you probably wouldn't want to hear after being married for over 2 decades. Anyhow, Jada and Tupac's relationship goes way back to when they were teens, and Jada said in an interview with Rolling Out, "If there is such a thing as past lives, I definitely think that Pac and I have traveled a few together." Despite calling Tupac her soulmate, she said, quote, "It just wasn't possible. There was no chemistry between us, but that they had friendship-love chemistry." She said it was like God put them together as a dynamic duo, but they weren't going to ever get together because that just wasn't the purpose. After saying all this, in an All the Smoke podcast episode, she talked about how when Tupac went to jail, she was there for him and that he wrote her a letter and even proposed to her while he was in jail, but that she declined.
A lot of people might not know, but he proposed to you while he was in jail.
That was probably one of the more painful parts, seeing him there, the condition that he was in and having to leave him there. And he was in bad shape. And so when he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers. And I knew at that time that he needed somebody to do time with him, which I was going to do anyway. You didn't have to marry me to do time, right? I'm here.
I see why we love you.
But he needed a rock. He needed, because of our friendship and because of everything we had been through together, he just wanted to feel that solidified foundation. you know. Because I promise you, he would have married me and divorced me as soon as his ass left jail. He would have.
Right.
I'll be real with it.
Right. Because so many people in that position don't have support.
Right.
None at all.
None. You know?
He got the best.
Right. He was just like, look. And I just think it was the mind state that he was in. You know? He wrote me this long letter.
Although this story is interesting and even sad, one TikTok user has said that Jada is a liar and that it's not possible for Jada to have been proposed to or been a quote savior, as he was engaged to another woman before he went to jail, and that Jada was actually the one who proposed, and his letter proves it.
Jada's lying, and I have the timeline to prove it. She is making all these wild claims, including that Tupac proposed to her while he was at Rikers. Really? The math isn't mathing, so let's take a look. Tupac was convicted of sexual charges on February 8th, 1995. From there, he was sent to Rikers prison, only to be transferred less than a month later to Clinton Correctional Facility. And she specifically said she went to see him. This was not on the phone.
Having to leave him there.
Cool. So prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words, in a September 2011 interview. He proposed to Keisha before he even went into prison. They were already engaged. They got married in April. And in the time that he got sentenced and was taken to prison, Keisha actually moved closer to be by him and be by the prison and saw him on a near daily basis. So you're telling me that in the 3 to 4 week window that he was at Rikers, engaged to another woman who had moved closer to the prison and was there almost every day, Tupac proposed to Jada. But hey, Jess, you might be saying to yourself, Tupac wasn't known to be a one-woman man. He was no angel. Fair enough. Let's see where Jada was during February of 1995, which was, as we've already established, the only time she would have been able to see Tupac at Rikers since he was only there for less than a month. You see, Jada had already met Will Smith in 1994. In February of 1995, Will Smith was served divorce papers by his wife. 5 days later, on February 19th, Will called Jada and said, "Are you single?" And she said, "Yep." Will said, "We're together now." Jada said, "Cool." And she immediately flew to LA. She flew so immediately that when he called her, she was in Maryland at a brand new house she bought. And she never spent a single night in her new house. That's how immediately she flew to LA. Let me do some updates. Number one, I have been in touch with Keisha Morris's family, and Keisha herself is enormously pleased with the way that I represented the facts in this situation. There's only really a few people who can truly know what happened, and Keisha Morris is one of them. She's also the wife who stood by Tupac, and her story's just being bulldozed by Jada. What I was debating was the narrative Jada was spinning about how she was basically his savior in prison and he wanted to get married. Tupac's own prison letters state that Jada proposed to him and that he didn't want to marry her. I'm just going off of Tupac's own words. At the end of the day, with any story, whether it's Tupac and Jada or anyone, everyone has their own side of the story and everyone around them has their version of what happened. But really the truth is somewhere in the middle. And what I'm looking at is a timeline of the facts based on verifiable sources. I'm looking at Tupac's own words and now confirmation from Keisha about how things actually happened. Do with that what you will.
All this to say, there's a lot of different sides to this story, but publicly Jada has been the one bringing up history with different people that simply does not need to be brought up, and is putting her as well as her family under a bad light. Many people are mentioning JColes' name ever since the Divorce Rumours started. This is because in 2014, J. Cole made a song called No Role Models, in which he says, quote, "I want a real love, dark skin and Aunt Viv love, that Jada and that Will love," basically calling their love real love. Now, after all the recent divorce rumors, a clip from one of J. Cole's concerts emerged in which he skips that line, and it's seen as a diss.
I want a real love, dark skin and Viv love. Toothbrush is a clear love.
However, of this has been debunked by none other than JColes himself. He talked about it all on a Safe Place podcast.
There's a clip of you recently performing and you skip over a certain line.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked this, bro. Yo, first of all, that's from 2 years ago. You talking about the Will?
Oh,
and
really? That wasn't.
No, that wasn't this. That wasn't this year. That was 2 years ago.
Man, that's
and this
crazy.
goes to show you the internet narratives that we was talking
That's
about.
crazy,
Bro. When I did that, at that time, entanglement was the word, and people were sending me screenshots of like, oh, I bet J. Cole don't want that Will and Jada love now. Like they were sending me these things, right? And it was around that time. So if you look at my face, at least what I thought I was projecting, that's me being like, I want a real love, dark skin ass real love. That Jada and that's me saying like, yeah, I still want that.
Oh.
Like that's me like co-signing the fact that even amongst all of this that's going on in the media, that's going on with them personally, I still admire them.
Jada has said that they haven't divorced because, quote, I made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce, which is why although they've been separated for 7 years, they are still married. However, some netizens say they won't get a divorce because they don't have a prenup and have brought up when Jada said in a Red Table Talk episode that, quote, it's cheaper to keep me, when asked why they are still together. What's being insinuated is that the real reason they're still together is because if they got divorced, Will's $400 million fortune would be cut in half and given to Jada. Will even posted his own video.
I got something for you. Here's the thing. So, my opinion of the...
There are many different interpretations of this video. Some viewers think he's trying to brush off the whole divorce talk, kinda like saying, hey, my life is just a tiny part of the big picture. Others think he's giving a little nudge to how crazy celeb gossip gets. A source reveals that Will was blindsided by Jada's recent confessions and that Jada did not have Will's approval to discuss their private life like she did. He has been left feeling, quote, more emasculated than ever and is now setting his sights on divorce. He knows he needs to be strategic as there's $400 million on the line. But he's hurt and angry and this is the final straw. He wants to divorce and end the charade, and wants a, quote, real relationship. And even though he still loves Jada, that ship has sailed. The layers of their story paint a picture that challenges the pristine image they once projected and the perfect couple they once were.